Jeff Smith. Question. I have heard from you and others that when Scientology is trying to sell people on the cult, they say there is no problem with already being religious, that you can be Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, or anything and still join Scientology, that the religions will not conflict. This is obviously not true, especially with the upper level beliefs on Jesus. So I have a couple of questions relating to that. When and how does the switch happen? When are people no longer allowed to participate in their old religion, and how does Scientology get them to quit? Have you ever witnessed or heard about a hardcore member of another religion giving it up for Scientology, or is it usually people already dissatisfied with their current religion? I'm curious because the promise of keeping your current faith seems like it would be a major selling point for some, but I assume Scientology has to quickly break that promise, and I would think that could be tricky to do with many people. Thanks in advance for your answer. I will tell you about my own personal experience with this. There was a woman in Santa Barbara who we'll call Jane. That was not her name. And she was a Sunday school teacher, and she was a hardcore Christian. And she came into Scientology, and she started doing Scientology, and she was told, exactly like you said, that it's compatible with her belief system. She trained as an auditor, as well as getting lots and lots of auditing, and she paid lots and lots of money for that. And the whole time that she did it, she continued to teach Sunday school. And she thought all along the line that it was fairly compatible with her beliefs, and she never really struggled with it until she did some of that auditor training and heard Hubbard talk in some of his lectures about Jesus and Christianity. And there are a couple lower level lectures where Hubbard flat out says that God is, a bit of a myth, right? In terms of organized religion. He doesn't say there's no such thing as God. He's really deriding organized religion and Christianity in those lectures. So she heard that and kind of thought, well, that's wrong, and I can still maintain my own integrity and my own viewpoint. And she did, and she continued to teach. And it was around the time that she got up to the point of clear that she came and talked to me about this, and we had a long conversation about it, and she told me that her faith had started to break down because of her Scientology beliefs. And I think that's an important point because it's not really ever talked about much in this whole discussion about people of other religions. Scientology is a very intrusive belief system, and it wears at you, right? And it installs ways of thinking and certain ways of looking at the world that are pretty unique. So those views and the belief system of Scientology itself is fairly incompatible with a lot of other religious beliefs, right? So, the idea of, somebody else, a Jesus Christ figure, Muhammad, whoever, being a savior figure or prophet is completely incompatible with the basics of Scientology, with the basic fundamental idea of you are a spiritual being who is and always has been at cause over your own condition. That those right there, you have incompatibility. So it's not necessarily always the case that the Church of Scientology says you now can no longer be a Christian. That's not how I saw it happen. The way I saw it happen was she, as she became more indoctrinated in Scientology, gave up those beliefs herself. And that was before she ever hit any of the confidential upper level materials. So that's the most direct personal story I have about it. And it's a story that demonstrates, as far as I'm concerned, how probably most people who come into Scientology with religious beliefs end up giving up those other religious beliefs simply because they don't jive with the Scientology belief system. And there's going to come a point at some point along the line of their Scientology indoctrination where they're going to run into a crisis of faith, right? And they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to hit a crossroad at some point, and they're going to go, am I going to continue believing in Jesus Christ as my personal savior, or am I going to keep, whatever the system is? I'm just using Christianity as one example. Scientology is not compatible with almost any other belief system. And in my Deconstructing Scientology series, I've talked about Buddhism, for example, how it's not compatible with that really at all. Even though Scientology says it's all pro-Buddhist and comes from Buddhism and all that, that's all just a bunch of crap. Scientology doesn't have anything compatible with Buddhism. So, same with Christianity, right? So as you go along the line as a Scientologist and you're, going toward personal spiritual freedom and immortality and all that, you're going to find that you're going to have to lose those beliefs yourself. And I never saw somebody come in and have Scientology sit down with them and do an ethics cycle, or have the MAA start going over references with them to handle them on their religion, right? I did see that with homosexuality. I did see that with other, things that Scientology considers unethical behavior, but I never saw that with religious belief. It just sort of breaks down on its own is how I saw it. So hope that gives you some more information about that subject.